In our long absence, pray do not deliver what here you've heard to her.
What do you think of me? Scene 4, a hall in Blackfriars.
Enter two vergers with short silver wine. Next them, two scribes in the habit of doctors. After them, Canterbury alone. After him, Lincoln, Ely, Rochester, St. Asaph. Next them, and with some small distance, follows the gentleman bearing the purse with a great seal, and the cardinal's hat, and two priests bearing each a silver cross. Then a gentleman usher bareheaded, accompanied with a sergeant-at-arms bearing a silver mace. Then two gentlemen bearing two silver pillars. After them, side by side, Cardinal Wolsey and Cardinal Campeius, two noblemen with the sword and mace. King Henry VIII takes place under the cloth of state. Cardinal Wolsey and Cardinal Campeius sit under him as judges. Queen Catherine takes place some distance from King Henry VIII. The bishops place themselves on each side the court in the manner of a consistory. Below them, the scribes. The lords sit next the bishops. The rest of the attendants stand in convenient order about the stage.
Whilst our commission from Rome is read, let silence be commanded.
What's the need? It hath already publicly been read, and on all sides the authority allowed. You may then spare that time.
Be it so, proceed.
King Henry VIII of England, come into the court.
Henry, King of England!
Here.
Say, Queen Catherine of England, come into the court.
Catherine, Queen of England!
Queen Catherine makes no answer, rises out of her chair, goes about the court, comes to King Henry VIII, and kneels at his feet, then speaks.
Sir, I do desire you do me right and justice, and to bestow your pity on me, for I am a most poor woman and a stranger, born out of your dominions, having here no judge indifferent, nor no assurance of equal friendship and proceeding. Alas, sir, in what have I offended you? What cause hath my behavior given to your displeasure, that thus you should proceed to put me off, and take your good grace from me? Heaven witness, I have been to you a true and humble wife, and at all times to your will comfortable, even in fear to kindle your dislike. Yea, subject to your countenance, glad or sorry, as I saw it inclined. When was the hour I ever contradicted your desire, or made it not mine too? Or which of your friends have I not strove to love, although I knew he were mine enemy? What friend of mine that had to him derived your anger did I continue in my liking? Nay, give justice. He was from thence discharged. Sir, call to mind that I have been your wife in this obedience upward of 20 years, and have been blessed with many children by you. If in the course and process of this time you can report and prove it too against my honor aught my bound to wedlock, or my love and duty against your sacred person, in God's name turn me away, and let the foulest contempt shut door upon me, and so give me up to the sharps kind of justice, Please you, sir, the king your father was reputed for a prince most prudent, of an excellent and unmatchable wit and judgment. Ferdinand, my father, king of Spain, was reckoned one of the wisest prince that there had reigned by many a year before. It is not to be questioned that they had gathered a wise council to them of every realm, that did debate this business, who deemed our marriage lawful. Therefore, I humbly beseech you, sir, to spare me, while I may be by my friends in Spain advised, whose counsel I will implore, if not in the name of God, should your pleasure be fulfilled.
You have here, lady, of your choice these reverend fathers, men of singular integrity and learning, yea, the elect of the land who are assembled to plead your cause. It shall be, therefore, bootless that longer you desire the court, as well for your own quiet as to rectify what is unsettled in the king.
His Grace has spoken well and justly. Therefore, madam, it's fit this royal session do proceed, and that without delay their arguments be now produced and heard.
Lord Cardinal, to you I speak.
Your pleasure, madame?
Sir, I am about to weep, but thinking that we are a queen, or long have dreamt so, certain the daughter of a king, my drops of tears I'll turn to sparks of fire.
Be patient yet.
I will when you are humble, nay, before, or God will punish me. I do believe, induced by potent circumstances, that you are mine enemy, and make my challenge you shall not be my judge, for it is you have blown this coal betwixt my lord and me, which God's Jude quench. Therefore I say again, I utterly abhor, yea, from my soul, refuse you for my judge, whom yet once more I hold my most malicious foe, and think not at all a friend to truth.
I do profess you speak not like yourself. Whoever yet have stood to charity and displayed the effects of disposition gentle and of wisdom overtopping woman's power? Madam, you do me wrong. I have no spleen against you, nor injustice for you or any. How far I have proceeded, or how far further shall, is warranted by a commission from the consistory, yea, the whole consistory of Rome. You charge me that I have blown this coal. I do deny it. The king is present. If it be known to him that I gainsay my deed, how may he wound unworthily my falsehood? Yea, as much as you have done my truth. If he know that I am free of your report, he knows I am not of your wrong. Therefore, in him it lies to cure me. And the cure is to remove these thoughts from you, the which before his highness shall speak in, I do beseech you, gracious madam, to unthink your speaking and to say so no more.
My lord, I am a simple woman, much too weak to oppose your cunning. You're meek and humble mouthed. You sign your place and calling, in full seeming with meekness and humility, but your heart is crammed with arrogancy, spleen and pride. You have by fortune and his highness's favors gone slightly o'er low steps, and now mounted where powers are your retainers, and your wards domestics to you, serve your will as please, yourself pronounce their office. I must tell you, you tender more your person's honor than your high profession spiritual. That again I do refuse you for my judge, and here, before you all, appeal unto the Pope to bring my whole cause for his holiness, and to be judged by him.
The queen is obstinate, stubborn to justice, apt to accuse it, and disdainful to be tried by. 'Tis not well. She's going away.
Call her again.
Catherine, Queen of England, come into the court.
Madam, you're called back.
What need you note it? Pray you, keep your way when you are called. Return. Now the Lord help. They vex me past my patience. Pray you, pass on. I will not tarry, no, not even more upon this business. My appearance make it any of their courts.
Go thy way, Kate. That man I the world who shall report he has a better wife. Let him not be trusted. Speaking false in that, thou art alone. If thy rare qualities, sweet gentleness, thy meekness, saint-like, wife-like government, obeying and commanding, thy part sovereign and pious else could speak thee out. The queen of earthly queens, she's noble born, and like her true nobility, she has carried herself towards me.
Most gracious sir, in humblest manner I require your highness, that it shall please you to declare, in hearing of all these years, where I'm robbed and bound, there must I be unloosed, although not there at once and fully satisfied, whether ever I did broach this business to your highness, or laid in any scruple in your way, which might induce you to the question on it, or ever have to you, but with thanks to God for such a royal lady, spake one the least word that might be to the prejudice of her present state, or touch of her good person.
My Lord Cardinal, I do excuse you, yea, upon mine honor. You free you from it. You are not to be taught that you have many enemies, that know not why they are so, but like to village curs, bark when their fellows do. By some of these the queen is put in anger. You're excused. Will you be more justified? Do you ever have wished the sleeping of this business, never desired it to be stirred, but oft have hindered, oft the passage made toward? On my honor, I speak, my good Lord Cardinal, to this point, and thus far clear him. Now, what's moved me to it? I will be bold with time and your attention, then mark the inducement. Thus it came, give heed to it. My conscience first received a tenderness, scruple and prick on certain speeches uttered by the Bishop of Bayonne, then French ambassador, who had been hither sent on the debating a marriage twixt the Duke of Orleans and our daughter Mary. The progress of this business, ere a determinate resolution, he, I mean the bishop, did require respite, wherein he might the king his lord advertise whether our daughter were legitimate, respecting this our marriage with the dowager, sometimes our brother's wife. This respite shook the bosom of my conscience, entered me, yea, with a splitting power, it made to tremble the region of my breast, which forced such way that many maze considerings did throng, and pressed in with this caution. First, methought I stood not in the smile of heaven, who had commanded nature that my lady's womb, if it conceived a male child by me, should do more offices of life to it than the grave does to the dead. For her male issue, or died where they were made, or shortly after, this world has aired them. Hence, I took a thought. This was a judgment on me, that my kingdom, well worthy, the best heir of the world, should not be gladdened in it by me. Then follows that I weighed the danger which my realm stood in, by this my issues fail, and thus gave to me many a groaning throe. This hulling in the wild sea of my conscience, I did steer toward this remedy. Whereupon we are now present here together. That's to say, I meant to rectify my conscience, which I then did feel full sick, and yet not well. By all this reverend fathers of the land and doctors learning, first I began in private with you, my Lord of Lincoln. You remember how under my oppression I did reek when I first moved you.
Very well, my liege.
I have spoke long. Be pleased yourself to say how far you satisfied me.
To please your highness, the question did at first so stagger me bearing a state of mighty moment in it, and consequent of dread, that I committed the daringest counsel which I had to doubt, and did entreat your highness to this course which you are running here.
Yeah. I then moved you, my lord of Canterbury, and got your leave to make this present summons, unsolicited. I left no reverend person in this court, but by particular consent proceeded under your hand and seals. Therefore, go on, for no dislike either world against the person of the good queen, but the sharp thorny points of my alleged reason drives this forward, prove but our marriage lawful. By my life and kingly dignity, we are contented to wear our mortal state to come with her, Catherine our queen, before the primest creatures that paragoned the world.
So please your highness, the queen being absent, 'tis a needful fitness that we adjourn this court till further day. Meanwhile must be an earnest motion made to the queen to call back her appeal she intends unto his holiness.
I may perceive this cardinal trifles with me. I abhor this dilatory sloth, the tricks of Rome. My learned and well-beloved servant Cranmer, prithee, returns with thy reproach. I know my comfort comes along. Break up the court, I say, set on.
Act 3, Scene 1, London, Queen Catherine's apartment. Enter Queen Catherine and her woman as at work.
Take thy lute, wench. My soul grows sad with troubles. Sing and disperse them. Thou canst, leave working.
This might be Green Sleeves.
Play ukulele.
Oh,
Is she asking someone else to sing?
I don't know.
We'll all sing.
Orpheus with his lute trees, mountain tops that freeze, blow themselves when he did sing. To his music plants and flowers, ever sprung as sun in showers, had made a lasting spring.
Everything
that in the billows of
this
your head and then
lay by.
His music is not ours, killing care and grief of heart. Fall asleep or peering die.
Oh, no.
As that song did.
And please, your grace, the two great cardinals wait in the presence.
Would they speak with me?
They would, me say so, madam.
Pray their graces to come near. What can be their business with me, a poor weak woman, fain from favor? I do not like their coming. Now I think on it, they should be good men, their affairs as righteous as righteousness, but all hoods make, not monks.
Peace to your highness.
Your graces find me here of a housewife. I would be all, against the worst may happen. What are your pleasures with me, reverend lords?
May it please you, noble madam, to withdraw into your private chamber. We shall give you the full cause of our coming.
Speak it here. There's nothing I have done yet, oh my conscience deserves a corner. Would all other women could speak this with as free a soul as I do? My lords, I care not. So much I am happy above a number. If my actions were tried by every tongue, every eye saw 'em, envy and base opinions set against them, I know my life even so. If your business, seek me out, and that way I'm wise in, out with it boldly. Truth leaves open dealing.
Tantes erga te mentis integritas, Regina Serenissima.
Oh, good my lord, no Latin. I'm not such a truant since my coming, as not to know the language I have lived in. The strange tongue makes my cause more strange, suspicious. Pray speak in English. Here are some will thank you. If you speak truth for their poor mistress's sake. Believe me, she has had much wrong, Lord Cardinal. The willing sin I ever yet committed may be absolved in English.
Noble lady, I am sorry my integrity should breed in service to his majesty and you so deep suspicion where all faith was meant. We come not by the way of accusation to taint that honor every good tongue blesses, nor to betray you any way to sorrow. You have too much, good lady, but to know how you stand minded in the weighty difference between the king and you, and to deliver like free and honest men our just opinions and comforts to your cause.
Most honored madam, my Lord of York, out of his noble nature, zeal, and obedience, he still bore your grace, forgetting, like a good man, your late censure, both of his truth and him, which was too far. Offers, as I do, in a sign of peace, his service and his counsel.
To betray me. My lords, I thank you both for your good wills. Ye speak like honest men. Pray God ye prove so. But how to make ye suddenly an answer in such a point of weight, so near mine honor, more near my life, I fear, with my weak wit, and to such men of gravity and learning, in truth, I know not. I was set at work among my maids, full little, God knows, looking either for such men or such business, for her sake that I have been, for I feel the last fit of my greatness. Good your graces, let me have time and counsel for my cause. Alas, I am a woman, friendless, hopeless.
Madam, you wrong the king's love with these fears. Your hopes and friends are infinite.
In England, but little for my profit. Can you think, lords, that any Englishman dare give me counsel? Or he, a known friend, against his highness's pleasure, though he be grown so desperate to be honest and live a subject? Nay, forsooth, my friends, they must weigh out my afflictions. They that my trust must grow to, live not here. They are, as all my other comforts are, far hence, in my own country, lords.
I would, your grace, leave your griefs, and take my counsel.
How, sir?
Put your main cause into the king's protection. He's loving and most gracious. 'Twill be much both for your honor better and for your cause. For if the trial of the law o'ertake ye, you'll part away disgraced.
He tells you rightly.
Ye tell me what ye wish for both, my ruin. Is this your Christian counsel? Out upon ye, heaven is upon all yet. There sits a judge that no king can corrupt.
Your rage mistakes us.
The more shame for ye. Holy men, I thought ye. Upon my soul, two reverend cardinal virtues. But cardinal sins and hollow hearts, I fear ye. Mend 'em. For shame, my lords. Is this your comfort? The cardinal, that ye bring a wretched lady, a woman lost among ye, laughed at, scorned? I will not wish ye half my miseries. I have more charity, but say, I warned ye. Take heed, for heaven's sake. Take heed, lest at once the burden of my sorrows fall upon ye.
Madam, this is a mere distraction. You turn the good we offer into envy.
Ye turn me into nothing. Woe upon ye, and all such false professors. Would you have me, if you have any justice, any pity, if ye be anything but churchmen's habits, put my sick cause into his hands that hates me? Alas, has banished me, his bed already, his love too long ago? I am old, my lords, and all the fellowship I hold now with him is only my obedience. What can happen to me above this wretchedness? All your studies make a curse like this.
Your fears are worse.
Have I loved this long? Let me speak myself, since virtue finds no friends. A wife, a true one, a woman, I dare say without vainglory, yet never branded with suspicion, have I with all my full affection still met the king. I loved him next heaven, obeyed him, been out of fondness superstitious to him, almost forgot my prayers to content him. And am I thus rewarded? 'Tis not well, lords. Bring me a constant woman to her husband, one that ne'er dreamed a joy beyond his pleasure. And to that woman, when she has done most, yet will I add an honor, a great patience.
Madam, you wander from the good we aim at.
My lord, I dare not make myself so guilty, to give up willingly that noble title your master wed me to. Nothing but death shall e'er divorce my dignities.
Pray, hear me.
Would I had never trod this English earth, or felt the flatteries that grow upon it. Ye have angels' faces, but heaven knows your hearts. What will become of me now, wretched lady? I am the most unhappy woman living. Alas, poor wretches, where are now your fortunes? Shipwrecked upon a kingdom where no pity, no friends, no hope, no kindred weep for me. Almost no grave allowed me. Like the lily, there once was a mistress of the field and flourished. I hang my head and perish.
If your grace could be brought to know our ends are honest, you'd feel more comfort. Why should we, good lady, upon what cause wrong you? Alas, our places, the way of our profession is against it. We are to cure such sorrows, not to sow. For goodness sake, consider what you do, how you may hurt yourself, I utterly. Grow from the king's acquaintance by this carriage. The hearts of princes kiss obedience, so much they love it. But the stubborn spirits, they swell and grow as terrible as storms. I know you have a gentle, noble temper. Soul is even as a calm. Pray think us, those we profess, peacemakers, friends, and servants.
Madam, you'll find it so. You wrong your virtues with these weak women's fears. A noble spirit, as yours was put into you, ever casts such doubts as false coin from it. The king loves you. Beware you lose it not. For us, if you please to trust us in your business, we are ready to use our utmost studies in your service.
Do what you will, my lords, and pray forgive me if I have used myself unmannerly. You know I am a woman lacking wit to make a seemly answer to such persons. Pray do my service to his majesty. He has my heart yet, and shall have my prayers while I still have my life. Come, reverend fathers, bestow your counsels on me. She now begs that little thought. When she set footing here, she should have brought her dignities so dear.
Scene 2, antechamber to King Henry VIII's apartment. Enter Norfolk, Suffolk, Surrey, and Chamberlain.
If you will now unite in your complaints and force them with a constancy, the cardinal cannot stand under them. If you omit the offer of this time, I cannot promise, but that you shall sustain more new disgraces with these you bear already.
I am joyful to meet the least occasion that may give me remembrance of my father-in-law, the Duke, to be revenged on him.
Which of the peers have uncontented gone by him, or at least strangely neglected? When did he regard the stamp of nobleness in any person out of himself?
My lord, you speak your pleasures, what he deserves of you and me, I know. What we can do to him, although now the time gives way to us, I much fear. If you cannot bar his access to the king, never attempt anything on him, for he hath a witchcraft over the king's tongue.
Oh, fear him not, hath spell in him that is out. The king hath found matter against him that forever mars the honey of his language. No, he's settled not to come off in his displeasure.
Sir, I should be glad to hear such news as this once every hour.
Well, believe it, this is true. In the divorce of his contrary proceedings are all unfolded, wherein he appears as I would wish mine enemy.
How came his practices to light?
Most strangely,
How?
the cardinal's letters to the Pope miscarried and came to the eye of the king, wherein was read how that the cardinal did entreat his holiness to stay the judgment of the divorce. For if it did take place, I do, quoth he, perceive my king is tangled in affection to a creature of the queen's, Lady Anne Boleyn.
Ah, has the king this?
Believe it.
Oh, will this work?
The king in this perceives him, how he coasts and hedges his own way. But in this point, all his tricks founder, and he brings his physic after his patient's death. The king already hath married the fair lady.
Would he had?
May you be happy in your wish, my lord, for I profess you have it.
Oh, now all my joy trace that conjunction.
My amen to it.
All amens.
There's order given for her coronation. Marry, this is yet but young and may be left to some ears unrecounted. But my lords, she's a gallant creature, and complete in mind and feature. I persuade me from her will fall some blessing to this land, which shall in it be memorized.
But will the king digest this letter of the cardinal's? The Lord forbid.
Mary, amen.
No. There be more wasps that buzz about his nose will make this sting the sooner. Cardinal Campeius is stolen away to Rome, hath taken no leave, hath left the cause of the king unhandled, and is posted as the agent of our cardinal to second all his plot. I do assure you that the king cried, ha, at this.
Now God incense him, and let him cry ha louder.
But my lord, when returns Cranmer?
He is returned in his opinions, which have satisfied the king for his divorce, together with all famous colleges almost in Christendom. Shortly, I believe, his second marriage shall be published, and her coronation, Catherine no more, shall be called queen, but princess dowager and widow to Prince Arthur.
This same Cranmer's a worthy fellow, and hath taken much pain in the king's business.
He has, and we shall see him for an archbishop.
So I hear.
'Tis so, the cardinal.
Observe, he's moody.
The packet Cromwell gave you, king.
It is in his own hand in his bedchamber.
Look at he on the inside of the paper.
Presently he did unseal them, and the first he viewed, he did it with a serious mien. Heed was in his countenance. You he bade attend him here this morning.
Is he ready to come abroad?
I think by this he is.
Leave me a while. It shall be to the Duchess of Alencon, the French king's sister. He shall marry her, Anne Boleyn. No, I'll know Anne Boleyn's for him. There's more in it than fair visage, Boleyn. No well Boleyns. Speedily I wish to hear from Rome the Marchioness of Pembroke.
He's discontented.
Maybe he hears the king does whet his anger to him.
Sharp enough. Lord, for thy justice.
Late queen's gentlewoman, a knight's daughter, be her mistress's mistress, the queen's queen. This candle burns not clear. 'Tis I must snuff it. Then out it goes. What though I know her virtuous and well deserved? Yet I know her for a spleeny Lutheran, not wholesome to her cause, that she should lie in the bosom of our hard-ruled king. Again, there is sprung up a heretic, an arch one, Cranmer. One hath crawled into the favor of the king and is his oracle.
Oh, he's vexed at something.
I would 'twere something that would fret the string and the master chords on his harp.
The king! The king!
Oh,
What piles of wealth hath he accumulated to his own portion? And what expense by the hour seem to flow from him? How I the name of thrift does he rake this together? Now, my lords, saw you the cardinal?
My lord, we have stood here observing him. Some strange commotion is in his brain. He bites his lip and stops on a sudden, looks upon the ground, then lays his finger on his temple. Straight springs out of fast gait, then stops again, strikes his breast hard, then anon he casts his eye about the room, about the moon, actually, in most strange posture. You have seen him set himself.
It may well be. There is mutiny in his mind. This morning, papers of state he sent me to peruse, as I required, and what I found there on my conscience put unwittingly, forsooth, an inventory thus importing the several parcels of his plate, his treasure, rich stuff and ornaments of household, which I find at such proud rate that it outspeaks possessions of a subject.
It's heaven's will. Some spirit put this paper in the packet to bless your eye withal.
If we did think his contemplation were above the earth and fixed on spiritual objects, he should still dwell in his musings, but I am afraid his thinkings are below the moon, not worth his serious considering.
Heaven forgive me, ever God bless your highness.
Good my lord, you are full of heavenly stuff, and bear the inventory of your best graces in your mind, the which you were now running o'er. You have scarce time to steal from spiritual leisure a brief span to keep your earthly audit. Sure, in that I deem you an ill husband, and I'm glad to have you therein my companion.
Sir, for holy offices I have a time to think upon the part of business which I bear in the state. And nature does require her times of preservation, which perforce I, her frail son, amongst my brethren mortal, must give my tendance to.
You have said well.
And ever may your highness yoke together, as I will lend you cause, my doing well with my well saying.
'Tis well said again, and 'tis a kind of good deed to say well. And yet words are no deeds. My father loved you, he said he did, and with his deed did crown his word upon you. Since I had my office, I have kept you next my heart, have not alone employed you where high profits might come home, but paid my present havings to bestow my bounties upon you.
What should this mean?
the Lord increase this business.
Have I not made you the prime man of the state? I pray you tell me if what I now pronounce you have found true. And if you may confess it, say withal, if you are bound to us or no. What say you?
My sovereign, I confess your royal graces showered on me daily have been more than could my studied purposes requite, which went beyond all man's endeavors. My endeavors have ever come too short of my desires, yet fouled with my abilities. Mine own ends have been mine, so that evermore they pointed to the good of your most sacred person, the prophet of the state. For your great graces heaped upon me, poor undeserver, I can nothing render but allegiant thanks. My prayers to heaven for you, my loyalty, which has and ever shall be growing, till death, that winter kill it.
Fairly answered. A loyal and obedient subject is therein illustrated. The honor of it does pay the act of it, as the contrary, the foulness is the punishment. I presume that as my hand has opened bounty to you, my heart dropped love, my power rained honor more on you than any. So your hand and heart, your brain, and every function of your power should, notwithstanding that your bond of duty, as 'twere in love particular, be more to me, your friend, than any.
I do profess that your highness's good I ever labored, more than my own, that am, have, and will be, though all the world should crack their duty to you, and throw it from their soul. Their perils did abound as thick as thought could make them, and appear in forms more horrid. Yet my duty, as doth a rock against a chiding flood, should the approach of this wild river break, and stand unshaken yours.
'Tis nobly spoken. Take notice, lords, he has a loyal breast, for you have seen him open it. Read o'er this. And after this, and then to breakfast with what appetite you have.
What should this mean? What sudden anger is this have I reaped? He parted, frowning from me, as if ruin leaped from his eyes. So looks the chafed lion upon the daring huntsman that has galled him, then makes him nothing. I must read this paper. I fear the story of his anger. 'Tis so. This paper has undone me. 'Tis the account of all the world of wealth I have drawn together for mine own ends. Indeed, to gain the popedom and fee my friends in Rome. Oh, negligence, fit for a fool to fall by. What cross devil made me put this main secret in the packet I sent the king? Is there no way to cure this? No new device to beat this from his brains? I know 'twill stir him strongly, yet I know a way, if it take right, displayed fortune will bring me off again. What's this? To the Pope. Let her live with all the...
Mike, your mic is not working.
Not me.
Full meridian, I haste now. I shall fall like a great exhalation. No man see me more.
Hear the king's pleasure, Cardinal, who commands you to render up the great seal presently into our hands, and to confine yourself to Usher House, my Lord of Winchester's, till you hear further from His Highness.
Stay, where's your commission,
Like
Lord?
old commercial.
Words cannot carry authority so weighty. Who dares cross him, bearing the king's will from his mouth expressly? Till I find more than will or words to do it, I mean your malice. No, officious lords, I dare and must deny it. Now I feel of what coarse metal you are molded. Envy. How eagerly you follow my disgraces, as if it fed ye, and how sleek and wanton you appear, and everything may bring my ruin. Follow your envious courses, men of malice. You have Christian warrant for them. And no doubt, time you'll find their fit rewards. That seal you asked with such a violence, the king, mine and your master, with his own hand gave me, bade me enjoy it with the places and honors during my life. And to confirm his goodness, tied it by letters patents. Now, who will take it?
The king that gave it.
It must be himself then.
Thou art a proud traitor, priest.
Proud lord, thou liest. Within these 40 hours, Surrey does better have burnt that tongue than say so.
Thy ambition, thou scarlet sin, robbed this bewailing land of noble Buckingham, my father-in-law, and the heads of all my brother cardinals. With thee and all thy best parts bound together, weighed not a hair of his. Plague on your policy! You sent me deputy for Ireland. Far from his succor, from the king, from all that might have mercy on the fault that gavest him, whilst your great goodness, out of holy pity, absolved him with an axe.
This and all else, talking Lord, can lay upon my credit. I answer is most false. The Duke by law found his deserts. How innocent I was from any private malice in his hand, his noble jury and foul cause can witness. If I loved many words, Lord, I should tell you, you have as little honesty as honor, that in the way of loyalty and truth toward the king, my ever royal master, dare mate a sounder man than Surrey can be, and all that love his follies.
By my soul, your long coat, priest, protects you. Thou shouldst feel my sword in the blood of thee else. My lords, can ye endure to hear this arrogance? And from this fellow, if we live thus tamely, to be thus jaded by a piece of scarlet? Farewell, nobility, let his grace go forward, and dare us with his cap like clerks.
All goodness is poison to thy stomach.
Yes, yes, this goodness of gleaning all the land's wealth into your own hands, Cardinal, by extortion, the goodness of your accepted packets you writ to the Pope against the King. Your goodness, since you provoke me, shall be most notorious, my lord of Norfolk, as you are truly noble, as you respect the common good, the state of our despised nobility, our issues, if he live, will scarce be gentlemen. Produce the grand sum of the sins and the articles collected from his life. I'll startle you with worse than the saccharine bell when the brown wrench lay kissing in your arms, Lord Cardinal.
How much methinks I could despise this man, but that I am bound in charity against it.
Those articles, my lord, are in the king's hand, but thus much, they are fixed foul ones.
So much fair and spotless shall mine innocence arise when the king knows my truth.
This cannot save you. I thank my memory. I yet remember some of these articles, and out they shall. And know now you can blush and cry guilty, Cardinal. You'll show a little honesty.
Speak on, sir. I dare your worst objections. If I blush, it is to see a nobleman want manners.
Well, first, I wish to see the Hampton Court. I had rather want those than my head. Have at you. First, that without the king's assent or not acknowledge, you wrought this to be a legate, by which power you maimed the jurisdiction of all bishops.
Then, in all that you written to Rome, or else to foreign princes, ergo ex Rex News, was still inscribed, in which you brought the king to be your servant.
Then that, without the knowledge either of king or council, when you went ambassador to the emperor, you made bold to carry into Flanders the great seal.
Haydn, you sent a large commission to Gregory de Cassalis to conclude, without the king's will or the state's allowance, a league between the Highness and Ferrara.
That, out of mere ambition, you've caused your holy hat to be stamped on the king's coin.
Then, that you have sent an innumerable substance, by what means God I leave you to your own conscience, to furnish Rome, and to prepare the ways you have for dignities, to the more and the mere undoing of all the kingdoms. Well, many more there are, which, since they are of you and odious, I will not taint my mouth with.
Oh, my lord, press not a falling man too far. His virtue, his faults lie open to the laws. Let them, not you, correct him. My heart weeps to see him so little of his great self.
I forgive him.
Lord Cardinal, the king's further pleasure is, because all those things you have done of late, by your power legatine within this kingdom, fall into the compass of a prémonier, that therefore such a writ be sued against you to forfeit all your goods, lands, tenements, chateaus, and whatsoever, and to be out of the king's protection. This is my charge.
And so we'll leave you to your meditations how to live better. For your stubborn answer about giving back the great seal to us, the king shall know it, and no doubt shall thank you. So fare you well, my little good Lord Cardinal.
So farewell to the little good you bear me. Farewell, a long farewell to all my greatness. This is the state of man. Today he puts forth the tender leaves of hopes. Tomorrow blossoms. Bears his blushing honors thick upon him. The third day comes the frost, a killing frost. When he thinks, good easy man, full surely his greatness is a ripening, nips his root, and then he falls as I do. I ventured, like little wanton boys that swim on bladders, this many summers in a sea of glory, but far beyond my depth. My high-blown pride at length broke under me and now has left me, weary and old with service, to the mercy of a rude stream, must forever hide me. Vain pomp, glory of this world, I hate ye. I feel my heart new opened. Oh, how wretched is that poor man that hangs on princes' favors. There is betwixt my smile we would aspire to, that sweet aspect of princes and their ruin, more pangs and fears than wars or women have. When he falls like Lucifer, never to hope again. Why, how now, Cromwell?
I have no power to talk, sir.
What, amazed in my misfortunes? Can thy spirit wonder a great man should decline? Nay, when you weep, I am fallen indeed.
How does your grace?
Why, well, never so truly happy, my good Cromwell. I know myself now, and I feel within me a peace above all earthly dignities, still and quiet conscience. The king has cured me. I humbly thank his grace. From these shoulders, these ruined pillars, out of pity, taken a load would sink a navy. Too much honor. Oh, 'tis a burthen, Cromwell. 'Tis a burthen too heavy for a man that hopes for heaven.
I am glad your grace has made that right use of it.
I hope I have. I am able now, methinks, out of a fortitude of soul I feel, to endure more miseries and greater far than my weak-hearted enemies dare offer? What news abroad?
The heaviest and the worst is your displeasure with the king.
God bless him.
The next is that Sir Thomas More is chosen Lord Chancellor in your place.
That's somewhat sudden, but he's a learned man. May he continue long in his highness' favor and do the justice for truth's sake in his conscience. His bones, when he has run his course and sleeps in blessings, and have a tomb of orphans, tears wept on him. What more?
That Cranmer is returned with welcome, installed Lord Archbishop of Canterbury.
That's news indeed.
Last, that the Lady Anne, whom the king hath in secrecy long married, this day was viewed in open as his queen, going to chapel, and the voice is now only about her coronation.
There was the weight that pulled me down. Oh, Cromwell, the king has gone beyond me. All my glories in that one woman I've lost forever. No son shall ever usher forth mine honors, or gild again the noble troops that waited upon my smiles. Go, get thee from me, Cromwell. I am a poor, fallen man, unworthy now to be thy lord and master. Seek the king. That son, I pray, you may never set. I have told him what and how true thou art. He will advance thee. Some little memory of me will stir him. I know his noble nature, not to let thy hopeful service perish too. Good Cromwell, neglect him not. Make use now and provide for thine own future safety.
Oh, my lord, must I then leave you? Must I needs forego so good, so noble, and so true a master? Bear witness all that have not hearts of iron, with whom a sorrow Cromwell leaves his lord. The king shall have my service, but my prayers forever and forever shall be yours.
Cromwell, I did not think to shed a tear in all my miseries, but thou hast forced me, out of thy honest truth, to play the woman. Let's dry our eyes and thus far hear me, Cromwell. When I am forgotten as I shall be, sleep in dull, cold marble, where no mention of me more must be heard of, or say I taught thee. Say, Wolsey, that once trod the ways of glory and sounded all the depths and shoals of honor, found thee a way out of his wreck to rise in, a sure and safe one, though thy master missed it. Marked by my fall and that ruined me. Cromwell, I charge thee, fling away ambition. By that sin fell the angels. How can man then, the image of his maker, hope to win by it? Love thyself last. Cherish those hearts that hate thee. Corruption wins not more than honesty. Still in thy right hand carry gentle peace to silence envious tongues. Be just and fear not. Let all the ends thou aimest at be thy countries, thy gods, and truce. Then if thou fallest, O Cromwell, thou fallest a blessed martyr. Serve the king, and prithee lead me in. Dare take an inventory of all I have, to the last penny. 'Tis the king's. My robe, my integrity to heaven, is all I dare now call mine own. Oh, Cromwell, Cromwell, had I but served my God with half the zeal I served my king, he would not in mine age have left me naked to mine enemies.
Good sir, have patience.
So I have. Farewell. The hopes of court, my hopes in heaven do dwell.
Act 4, Scene 1, the street in Westminster.
We can skip the two gentlemen and go straight to the order of coronation to Queen Anne Boleyn.
I must apologize, everybody. I've made another commitment, so I must
Sir.
say good night. I love reading the old lady, and I love so I'm looking forward to next time, please. But this is important to me, so I've got to say good night now.
Yes.
Nice.
Aloha.
Okay. Cheers, mates. We'll give it another go soon.
Godspeed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Merry Christmas.
Got it.
The order of the coronation.
The order of the coronation. A lively flourish of trumpet. And to